It is really windy out, so I'm trying my best to block the wind. But anyway, we're doing another brass comparison video for my 7mm Mauser. These are all seated to 3 inches with the Nosler Custom Competition. And it's, a benchmark powder. So, same primers, same bullets, same seating depth, just different brass. Now, you'll notice here, Hornady, 8mm Mauser. Say it ain't so. Yeah, we necked it down. Then in the middle we have Norma, and then on the far right we have Nosler. So we're going to see how they do. Okay, so this is my brass test, and you guys are not going to be able to see the marks I've been doing so well, but I'll walk you through it. So 1, 2, and 1, 2, 3. So this is 1, 2, 3. So this is like about an 1.5 inch group, maybe a little bit less than, I'm guesstimating. Anyway, that's Norma brass, and I'll tell you straight up, that's for the minimum charge, 33.5 grains of benchmark. That is currently the winner. Now for Nosler, that's the straight vertical lines, and we have 1, 2, and then all the way up here 3, which I can tell you is already slightly worse. And then lastly we have the reformed Hornady brass, and we have 1, 2, and then 3. So we have 3 more groups to get through. Let's do it. I still have yet to shoot the Hornadys, but I'm still taking a video now because this is the 34.5. Pardon me. Anyway, so this is the Norma 1, 2, and 3. So that's roughly about an inch group, a little bit over, but I do believe that the Nosler outshot it, and this is horizontal. I wanted to take a video because the way I'm marking them, that got shot out for the Norma. So let's see how Hornady does. I don't think it's gonna fare much better. We'll see though, could surprise us. Really glad I took a video before I fired off the Hornady because I shot out several of the other markings. So yeah, Hornady is the one that goes to the upper left. So 1, 2, and then 3. So it's not doing terrible, but it's not doing as well as the other 2. I have a feeling this is going to be the ongoing trend. We'll see though, as pressure builds up, because we're only at 34.5. You never know how things might change. And also, 36 is the absolute max, so we're going full grain, full grain, full grain, half grain, because these are just proofing loads. This is just going from minimum to maximum just to see how well it does. I've already done this with the Hornady brass, I believe, because I was working on a benchmark. I just happened to shoot off the Nosler as well as, you know, we're doing this for fun. There you go, that's all you need to know. 35 grains, and pardon the wind. So the worst group is still Hornady. So we have that one all the way up here, and then we have, let's see here, that one right there, and I think that one up there. Yeah, so verticality though is nice, but Norma is right there, there, and then there. And Nosler is there, there, and there. The pen tore through the target. So Nosler did that thing where it has more of a horizontal pattern, whereas Norma is more of almost like a slightly vertical triangle. So it's very similar to what we saw up here, but again, they widened out. And the point of impact in general is to the lower right. I'm not sure what happened with Hornady there, but I guess that goes to, whoa, powerful wind, goes to show why reforming brass isn't necessarily the best idea, but whatever. So we have one more group, and I'm predicting that it's going to be more scattering across the board. Still trying really hard to block the wind from the microphone, because I hate when I watch YouTube videos and, well, anyway. So this is the last charge, 36 grains of benchmark. And guess what? Hornady and guess what? Hornady won out, just barely. So anyway, here is Norma. We have 1, 2, and 3. Nosler, we have 1, 2, and 3. And then for Hornady, we have 1, 2, and 3. Now this is a very comparable group. The group is just barely smaller. Like if you took calipers to it, you'd easily see it. But I just kind of lined up the pen rather, I guess. Anyway, I lined up the pen, and yeah, by about maybe 1/10 of an inch, the Hornady group is Hornady. Don't come after me, internet. Heaven forbid I mispronounce something. Anyway, but here's the thing though. When you take a look at the points of impact and their shift over time, where Nosler was hitting is far more consistent from where Hornady was hitting, and even Norma. Norma did really well, but I think Nosler beat it out just barely, especially in terms of keeping with a very similar point of impact over time. And this is why I both love and hate reloading for my 7mm Mauser. It's because some groups are good and other groups are really terrible. There we go. Benchmark in 7mm Mauser. Definitely do recommend, especially with Norma or Nosler brass. One thing I wanted to add is how all the groups do have a similar pattern. So like the first group you have there, this second group, 34.5, like all of it's fairly tight and clustered. But when we get to this one, this is the one where both for the Norma, but also for the Hornady, we have like kind of a major outlier, a major flyer. So there's a lot of things to be said about this, whereas this in general is just opening up. You can kind of see where it wants the pattern, but if this is max load, although still serviceable, no, this is definitely by far the best load. This is, I guess, what you'd consider maybe even the OCW load, the optimum charge weight, because we tested 3 different types of brass with it, and now we didn't work it up like a proper OCW. These are really just running proofs, just going across the broad spectrum of working up a load just to see what works, where we can maybe play around a bit. But honestly, for just going out the range and hunting paper, I would be happy with just loading up some 34.5. I wouldn't be surprised if actually the most accurate group is in between these two charges. So maybe we can work up a load between 34.5 and 35.5. Maybe that'll be the next video. We'll see. So before I pack up and head on home, I just want to look at the primers, and there we go. And this is Norma, and you can see it's very well rounded. Like, we're pretty good. We could maybe even risk putting more benchmark in there. This is Nosler, and you can see it too is fairly well rounded. I find that the Hornady brass is remarkably more flat, but as you can see, there's still a fair amount of roundness in those edges. So across the board, I mean, we could try a little bit more powder, but honestly, I'm this is fairly fast burning. So once you don't know how quick that pressure curve is going to spike. So sometimes you don't want to risk it. But yeah, overall, pretty pleased with everything here. Just pack up.